Alright, welcome back to the stream. And if you're just new here and you're finding this video, this is probably going to be the last archived live stream on the main Scanlime channel on YouTube. So I'm in the middle of transitioning from just a single YouTube channel for the live streams and the edited video to two separate channels. So I'll talk about that in some more detail in a bit. And repeat it a bit later in the stream, but just FYI, that's what's going on. If you find this video later, there's a reason it's the last one. The new streams should be over at Scanlime in progress, and yeah, it looks like the bot actually was grabbing a link that got deactivated during the switch. Man, YouTube has some weird rules around URLs. I managed to get this custom URL, which wasn't quite what I wanted, but was better than the random string of garbage. But then apparently that custom URL was one of the things that broke when I migrated the channel to be a branded channel, and so now the channel that was Micah Elizabeth Scott on YouTube is now Scanlime. Yeah, so it'll be a little bit weird at the moment, but the bot should be sending out all the right URLs as of the next stream, and it should point you to the Scanlime in progress channel. And things are just business as usual on Twitch. So there's twitch.tv/Scanlime. I also sometimes let the robot stream at twitch.tv/TucoFlyer. Anyway. Yeah, sorry the bot actually sent out the wrong URL just now. I know I mentioned the bot wouldn't change in the little Patreon update I sent out, and that they would continue to keep sending out good URLs, but I forgot that this actually broke because of this YouTube URL migration weirdness. But I'll fix it for the next one, and it'll definitely point to the new account. So yeah, sorry to make things confusing like that. This was sort of the motivation. I was just looking. I mean, first of all, YouTube, I just can't even with streaming platforms these days. I mean, part of the reason that I'm streaming on both YouTube and Twitch is that I don't really want to buy 100% into any one corporate monolith's ecosystem if I can avoid it. But that certainly does make things a little bit annoying, just having multiple platforms to manage. And then from a more practical standpoint, it's nice to provide Twitch streaming because Twitch has some nice community features, but then YouTube, from kind of a practical standpoint, actually just has better video quality right now. So, you know, and sometimes the experience can be better on one platform or another, just depending on what player you're using. But anyway, it seems like the unfortunate part about streaming on YouTube is that even though it makes it easy to discover the live streams for people who already know about the edited videos, if somebody's only interested in the edited videos, YouTube doesn't really give you a good way of just saying, no thanks for the live streams, just give me the good stuff. And so I think I just end up with graphs like this where I end up and I'm no expert with interpreting social media trends, but as best I can tell what's going on is people organically discover my videos and then stick around for the edited stuff, but then leave when I just inundate them with live streams, and there's no good way to turn that off. So that's why things are different now, or at least they will be as of the next stream. And so I've been trying to make sure all the links are up to date. So if you go to just scanlime.org, where I have all my old blog stuff and all my new blog stuff and whatever, you now have links to Patreon, to the art stuff, to my about page on the art stuff. But anyway, the important stuff's over here. So there's the YouTube channel itself, which links here. This is now Scanlime branded with a picture of Tuco sniffing cables. I guess we can start that stream now that Tuco's actually around. Oh, as soon as they say that, the robot loses him. There we go. Alright, and that should actually be live now on the other place. If you go to live streaming, TucoFlyer, and that should be up here on Twitch, showing you where the robot thinks Tuco was hanging out. Maybe this stream won't last that long anyway. Yeah, no, sorry if the title scared folks. So just to be clear, I'm not ending my live streaming. I'm just moving it to a separate channel because I think the live streaming is scaring off people that are only interested in the edited content. I'll just have to leave that there until Toot comes back. So there's that if you want the direct line to the cat camera. And then there's also, yeah, so I know this website is a bit crusty. It's like a website I've had for a long time, and it's like a WordPress site with hundreds of articles, and I occasionally retheme it, but so far my strategy has been to bolt on additional websites when I need to. So like the art stuff is all on a separate website, which apparently is a little slow right now. Why is that? Yeah, it's probably slow because this one's like a megabyte of JavaScript that I didn't write. So this one hasn't been updated really recently, but I've had like my more arty stuff on there. Anyway, so like I could just make a separate website for the like scanlime live streams and videos and stuff. It's just that since it is basically a continuation of this blog, it seems like it should be on this blog site. So I might actually have to figure out how to retrofit this WordPress site into something that I don't dislike as much. But anyway, so now I have a link to both the main YouTube channel over here with the channel itself, and then you can even go directly to the video playlist here. And then for live stream, there's the, what is this link to? Just live streaming. If you just click live streaming, it'll go to Twitch. I decided that's, I guess, the default, but you can also go to the live streams on YouTube, which will be active. This is where the next stream is going to be, FYI. Subscribe here if you like these streams. And this will give you notifications. Or go to Twitch if you like Twitch, but one of these two will be your place to go. Oh geez, are we not streaming on Twitch right now? How embarrassing. Please tell me I just need to reload this page. Okay, it looks like, no? Dang, why is that not working? Okay, I'm gonna have to reboot this transcoding server. Actually, I'm so tired of this problem showing up on stream and then me not having any ability to debug it because I just have to reboot the machine. So maybe I'll take just a second to see if there are any relevant logs on here before I reboot it. Sorry about that. This is very frustrating. Is this hard disk full or something? No. Huh. Yeah, that's weird. Like, it looks like my local transcoder is working, but it's not actually sending it to Twitch. Let me see if I can verify that the transcode is working. Oh, is the transcode not producing any frames? Huh. Can I kill the transcoder? Will it come back? I don't know if the transcoder will come back. Oh, there's a new transcoder spawned. Can I has transcode? Oh, that was my notification that Twitch went live. Okay. I think that was a faster way of solving the problem, and I didn't have to restart the YouTube stream. Are we live on Twitch? Okay, yeah, let me throw the title card up here again briefly. But yeah, sorry for the rough start on the stream on all fronts. I guess that's what happens when you change your infrastructure around and don't have a completely separate test for it first. I just need a separate entire copy of my whole social media presence to test every change on. Yeah, so anyway, welcome back if anyone is here on Twitch. Sorry, we started off the stream with only YouTube because the transcoder was dead, but yeah, as best I can tell, this might be some kind of glitch involving FFmpeg and the hardware-assisted H.264 encoding, but all I know at the moment was the process was wedged and killing the FFmpeg process brought everything back. So anyway, welcome back. So yeah, no, totally. A lot of people are mentioning that, like, yeah, this is really common on YouTube, people having second and third channels and whatever. And like, I'd been seeing it, sure, but I think the thing I was trying to weigh off is like, well, if I start a new channel, I was just terrified of having like 0 subscribers, no way to build an audience, like no one would know where it was, and just, I mean, that's why I have all these videos, you know, or like I had them just under my own like personal channel for a long time. And I've been weighing off, you know, how much hassle it would be to switch that over, and how much, you know, how many people I would probably lose along the way, and how many people I would avoid losing in the near future, that kind of thing. So I think part of what tipped the bucket for me was noticing this YouTube feature for making branded accounts. So it provided a fairly easy way for me to migrate all the content in my current account to a new thing which is like connected to my account but is like a separate channel. I saw some reports that it would like delete your comments. It didn't seem like that happens anymore, so I think the comments are safe. It does seem like it messed up. There was a URL that I used occasionally. It was like youtube.com/melizabethscott, and that one just no longer works. I don't know why they do that, but that one just completely breaks. So I've tried to eliminate that, and I don't think a lot of people were using that URL, but that one's broken, sorry. Apparently the bot was using it and I forgot. But yeah, the plan there is I'm changing the bot to point to the new URLs for the next stream, because that's where they're going. And for anyone who missed the first announcement, the reason this is the last stream on this channel is that I'm moving the live streams to a separate channel. The whole point there is that I think a lot of people have been organically discovering the videos, like the edited content, and then just like leaving due to the flood of live streams that there's no way to separately subscribe to within the concept of the whole channel. And so YouTube just seems to need those things to be on separate channels. So I moved the edited content to the scanlime channel, and then there's a scanlime in progress channel, which is brand new, and that's where all the next subsequent live streams will be after this one. So if you're into those streams, you can subscribe here. And I tried to get the links all pointing to the right places so far. So if you go to scanlime.org, this is the blog site that has all the recent posts. And then you can also go here for like old historical stuff if you're into that. And then it has links to the YouTube stuff and the live stream stuff. So if you click just the YouTube heading up here, it'll go to the channel. And so this should be pretty up to date. This has, we're live right here, right now, but that won't be here next time. It'll have the latest edited videos. It'll have a link to the channel you can subscribe to for live streams, but it won't have the live streams themselves. And then it has, you know, links to other channels I like. So that's that. There's also a link directly to the video playlist. And then over here on the live streaming side, there will be separate links to the YouTube channel, which I think is the same thing I had open here. This is the Scanlime in Progress channel. Then there's the Twitch stream, which is now live. Sorry that wasn't live before. I've got to get to the bottom of that transcoding glitch before it just eats an entire stream. I know that's not really inspiring folks to subscribe to Twitch, so yeah, I know I need to be especially vigilant about that bug. And there's a separate stream for the robot if you're into watching the cat. This just runs, I try to just run this when the robot has a good view of the cat. So given that the cat seems to be wandering right now, I might shut it off right for the moment. But usually that's running when the cat and the robot are in the same place. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Andrew says that with Twitch it's not really seamless between the DVR and the live stuff, so they either miss the beginning or have to keep reloading the archive page. Yeah, and I mean that problem isn't really better on YouTube, I think. I mean, on YouTube there's that weird gap between when the stream ends and the DVR footage goes down and when the actual archive footage comes up. It's kind of weird. Yeah, it is. Sodium says it seems really silly that YouTube doesn't separate user and channel, necessitating the whole second channel thing. Yeah, it looks like they've made steps toward that with this branded channel thing, but it's kind of weird that that's like only an internal concept. Like it seems, and it's like you can use that to share a brand with multiple people or to like send it to someone else or like make it no longer associated permanently with your user account, but you're still effectively logged in as the brand when you surf YouTube. Like, as far as YouTube's concerned, it seems to basically be a user identity. It's a strange system. All right, anyway. So there's that, and that was the reason behind it, if I didn't mention, or if you didn't hear when I mentioned earlier, that it just seems like the way YouTube is set up, having one channel for both the edited content and the live streams seems to turn away folks who are only interested in the edited content, since the live stream is kind of this deluge of stuff that happens. So there's that. I think that's out of the way. Yeah, the whole branded identities thing is kind of a workaround still. But yeah, and if you're lost, you can just go to scanlime.org, and that has the links to all the stuff. So that's the last time we will be here. So the next thing on the schedule here, actually, I wanted to open some mail, and some of it is RFID related, hence the topic. So let's go to the overhead cam. Gotta catch up with the coffee too, right? Oh, that's a good question. James is asking about monetization. So I can't use the monetization on Twitch at all unless I stream exclusively to Twitch. That's just how their platform is set up. So I just can't do any monetization on Twitch. And YouTube has some monetization features, but like, frankly, a lot of that money just goes right back to YouTube. So like, if you want to support the channel, the best way to do it is Patreon. Like, even a small recurring contribution helps with just like making sure I can like keep paying the rent and, you know, being able to do this, which is nice. I could do other things, but this seems to be good. A lot of people seem to like it, including me. And if you do want to send like a one-time donation, I have both PayPal and Square Cash set up for that. But yeah, like the monetization systems on YouTube and Twitch are kind of fun, but they're like, I think, set up to benefit the website quite a lot. And I mean, the Twitch might be good for people who are streaming a lot and do stream exclusively on Twitch, but you know, as it stands, if you can't commit 100% to their platform, you can't get any money from them. And so, yeah, I mean, as far as like, if you just want to like pick a platform based on what's good for me, I mean, I don't know, they're both fine. I guess I've got a bit of an incentive to try to have, like, there's maybe a little bit of pressure to just pick one platform or another. So if people do strongly prefer one platform or another, then it simplifies some things. But if I'm going to go to the trouble of maintaining both platforms anyway, then I actually just kind of prefer to see a balanced set of users on both. So I don't necessarily want to like sway people one way or another. I mean, if both platforms have something to offer, then I'll go through the trouble of maintaining both, and let's just use both, and I want to see people on both, and that's it. That's about all I have opinion-wise there. I feel like personally, I don't know, like I think it depends on where I'm viewing. Like as a viewer, when I'm viewing other people's streams, I really like Twitch when I'm on a mobile device. Like their mobile client is nice, especially on iPad. It makes it easy to hang out and chat, and if you're using all the native features, it's really smooth. That's really great. If I'm on a big monitor at home and I just want all the pixels, then YouTube is where it's at, because they just support all the bitrate. So yeah, like, I mean, personally as a viewer, I would probably just prefer if everyone just had the ability to easily stream everywhere so that I could have whatever features I want given the circumstance, but I know that that's an unreasonable expectation. And so, I mean, I've also had people be like, well, why don't you use restream.io? And I mean, the answer is I have the hardware and the bandwidth to do it myself, so I'd rather not pay them for it when I can do it. But it is a lot easier, so like that's certainly an option if you're into doing this kind of thing and you don't want to set up the server yourself. But if you do want to do it yourself, like, you're welcome to copy my configuration. I have all that up on GitHub. If you go to GitHub, I'll just show it on the screen really quick. But I run a separate server here with Nginx, which does the transcoding with FFmpeg. So you can go to scanlime/broadcasting on GitHub. And this has pretty much all the configurations, just, you know, with any sensitive info redacted. So they're a little bit out of sync because I have to do that manually sometimes, but they're pretty recent. So yeah, this is the Nginx config, pretty much the actual one that I run. So let's see, I have this local service that I publish to from OBS. And then it runs the announcement script. I guess this stuff has changed a little bit since I pushed the script. It actually runs another FFmpeg to, oh, what is that? That's for making screenshots. It actually has to record the screenshots as single frame flash videos that it then transcodes, and that's how you get the screenshots out the Twitter account. So there's like stuff like that, which like, it's easy to customize this if I just have an Nginx config file and a full Linux machine to hack at. But restream.io would probably make it really easy to start, but then I would have to set up something separate for any weird features like that I want. Yeah, so if you're interested in the details, you can poke through there. It's an Nginx plugin that does the RTMP, and then I use FFmpeg to actually do the transcoding on hardware. So, oh no, Joel says that I scared them with the title. Yeah, no, just to reiterate, I'm not stopping streaming, I'm just moving it to a new channel. And so if you go to my main channel on YouTube, or if you go to scanlime.org, or if you follow the Scanlime live bot, then all of those things will direct you to the new Scanlime in Progress channel where the live streams will be from now on. I wanted to do one last stream on the regular channel just to make sure I could just like reiterate that. Because I mean, the reason I haven't done this sooner is I worried about losing a lot of people in the move, but I think at this point it's clear that I'm losing a lot of people from not moving, so I'm gonna try that and see what happens. Oh yeah, audio is hard. James says they might want to steal some of that config. They might want to do some streaming, but they're scared of it and a bit annoyed at the audio drivers. I've had so much trouble with audio getting this streaming setup working. And it's a little bit inelegant the way it's set up. It relies on a lot of analog stuff. There's a lot of isolation transformers involved to cut out hum. But it avoids a bunch of software bugs, which seem to be where it's at. So yeah, I've actually got one machine here that's doing a lot of jobs that could run on separate machines. One of those jobs is the video stream, one of those jobs is running the robot, and the other is running the audio mixing. So I've got like one big audio interface that has 8 inputs and 8 outputs. That has all the microphones connected to it. There's another analog mixer connected, which pools up a bunch of the computers so that they can share an input. And there's an input that gets slurped out of the HDMI that you're seeing on screen. So, yeah. Oh, cool. Jimbo says they prefer YouTube. Could you elaborate? I'm kind of curious what the reasons are people prefer various platforms. And yeah, just to reiterate, this is not the last stream ever, just the last stream on this channel. The future streams will be on the Scanlime in Progress channel, just to keep the main channel lower noise. So if you go to scanlime.org or the main channel, there will be links to the new Scanlime in Progress channel. And there's Twitch. I'm sorry the Twitch stream was a little bit late to start today. The transcoder bug bit again. I need to, so actually something I really do need is I need a Raspberry Pi image that just boots up and then gives me some LED indicators for whether the YouTube stream is running, the Twitch stream is running, the Tuco Flyer stream is running. Maybe another indicator for whether the Tuco Flyer stream has any audio. And then just have a couple of those around the shop. So one right here at the desk, maybe one, where guests can see it as they're coming in, maybe one upstairs, stuff like that. So that would be an easy future project for us to do. I'm so used to on this channel just biting off these crazy research projects, and that would be something that I think a lot of us already know how to do, but it's just turning the crank and making this thing happen. And it might involve doing some nice design for 3D printing too, which is, always a fun thing to build skills in. So anyway, I keep holding this thing and taunting you with the tools here. And what is all this other stuff on the desk? It's maybe related. It's related to what we'll do a little later on the stream. Anyway. So this box comes to us from Joe Grand, and he's another kind of, jack of all trades, sort of embedded hacker who gets really deep into all sorts of stuff. And well, actually saying it that way makes it seem like he's not also an expert. But yeah, no, I guess what I mean is polymath. He's pretty great like that. And I guess I know him from. I guess I'd have a bunch of reasons to cross paths with him, but I guess I saw a lot of the work that he did for Parallax a while ago on their development boards, and so actually I have this page up. Oh, did I just close it, or is it behind this other mess? Yeah. So on this old blog, the old lime-colored blog. So this is something I did a while ago. I programmed a microcontroller to be an RFID tag. This is just a plain old AT Tiny 85, just an AVR, and it's just got an inductor across two of its pins. The anti-static there is just to make it easier to hold on camera. But yeah, I did this project a while ago where I kind of did a bunch of dirty hacks to make a normal AT Tiny microcontroller behave like an RFID tag. The dirtiest of these hacks is that the coil is actually powering this chip through the protection diodes on the I/O pins. So the diodes that would normally act as electrostatic discharge protection actually also look like a bridge rectifier made of Schottky diodes. So it's actually pretty great to power the chip. And in this case, I've got some extra capacitance, but you can run it with just the chip even, because just the chip itself has a little bit of capacitance that keeps the chip powered. And then the actual coil, the reader coil in an RFID card transmits this signal, which is at a particular carrier frequency. So in this case, 125 kilohertz. So that has enough energy to power the chip, but it also has that clock reference that we use in order to transmit data back. So in this case, the clock reference is also used to clock the instructions on the chip. So in this case, the instruction sequence was really just a list of GPIO operations, and it was timed to match the incoming carrier wave. So I did this a while ago. When was this? 2008. This was a while ago. Wow, it's this project's 10-year anniversary this year. I might have to build some just to celebrate. Yeah, I mean, so people have made other versions of this, and it's been an interesting project, to, an interesting conversation piece over the decade, I guess. But I've also, talked about it and shown this picture, and it's always got this board that Joe Grand designed in the background. And I think that was partly how this came up. I was like talking about this at a conference recently, and he was in the audience, and I was like, oh yeah, hi. That was B-Sides, Portland. Yeah, so like he designs a lot of cool stuff for Parallax. And I think, yeah, he's got a website, Grand Idea Studio. Oh yeah, the JTagulator is also his, if you're a fan of that device. And he does trainings, X-rays boards. Done a lot of cool stuff. Anyway, he sent me a box with some RFID stuff to take a look at. Oh, and there's GitHub. Oh, and JTagulator at Adafruit. Yeah. Yeah, so he and I are both fans of this chip here, the Propeller. I really like this chip. It's kind of a weird one. It's a really weird chip, but I mean, I could do entire... I should really talk about it more. I don't know, I feel a little weird doing like video about the Propeller because it's such a weird niche thing, but I don't know, let me know if you like it. If you like the Propeller, I'll do more stuff about it because I'm a really big fan of that chip. Oh yeah, Dean mentions Propeller is the first of the truly open chips. Yeah, the Verilog was all released by Chip and the Parallax team. So it was this really interesting labor of love by like mostly one guy and this like small team around him, Chip Gracie at Parallax, and it's really an amazing chip, and it's the kind of thing that just feels very satisfying to use as an individual engineer because the whole thing fits in your head really nicely because it's one of those things that a single person designed. So there's a lot to like about that chip. And yeah, it has 8 cores. So it has 8 cores that can run 80 megahertz each. I've also gotten away with overclocking it a little bit. This is another fun thing. I don't know, man. I've written some fun code for that processor. Where do I keep the fun code anymore? I did 2 things that I'm actually really proud of for that processor that no one's going to use, because there's no reason to use it, but it's just code that I really am proud of. What did I call this? I'm just Googling this the way anybody else would. Oh yes, EtherCog. This was a darn fast Ethernet driver I wrote for the Propeller, and it's just full of madness. And then, similarly full of madness, I wrote a full-speed bit-bang USB host for this chip. I've gotten some weird questions in the mail after writing this. People are like, can we do bit-bang USB on another microprocessor? I'm like, probably not. It's a miracle it worked here, but you can try. Yeah, this is just connected to the GPIOs. Why is it so big? Anyway, this processor is really interesting. It has these 8 cores that are all symmetric. They all have local memory. There's also some shared memory with sort of round-robin control. So I wrote all this kind of high-level stuff, like Bluetooth serial, written in the like higher-level spin language, Bluetooth host controller stuff. All of this was written in Spin, so that it was pretty easy to plug together with other Spin code, and it runs like interpreted out of main memory. It doesn't take a lot of hardware resources. But then the actual USB core, the USB controller takes like 6 of these cores running interleaved in parallel, and it, yeah. If you want, for a good time, read this source code. Actually, which one is it? That's, no, not the Bluetooth stuff. USB full speed host. Yeah, so this tells you how to connect the USB port to the microcontroller. There are a lot of limitations here. Oh, 3 cogs. Where was I thinking it took more? I guess it only takes 3 cogs. Yeah, 2 receive and 1 transmit, I think. Because the transmit cog uses this little built-in shift register that's normally used for video. So all that's just definitions. This is high-level interpreted code. So this is, like, you can think of it as like the library veneer over the like little machine that actually runs this. And then the actual little machine that runs it is all written in assembly, and it's this stuff down here. And so I have separate assembly programs that run on these 3 processors, I think. Yeah, there's one processor that acts as a controller and a transmitter, and it uses the video shift register to transmit individual bits. Yeah, there's a palette for the J and K states. And so this gets commands from like a buffer. Well, not really yeah, it's like a little buffer. This gets commands from other cores telling it what to do. So you can like pre-encode packets in memory and then like blast them out through a shift register. This is the kind of contortion you have to go through to bit bang USB. It's something you only really do if you have to. Anyway, I also had fun bit banging SPI on this processor. And then the craziest thing I did was this thing called EtherCog, where, oh yeah. So the whole idea behind this is it had this like interpreted veneer on the front end, and then this like or low level assembly backend that would communicate with each other through a linked list of transfers. But then the backend was actually implemented using some really crazy stuff. Yeah, large memory model, virtual machine. There's this whole way of writing assembly language code using kind of weird repurposed condition codes such that you could control whether the code was... Oh yeah, here we go. See all this code that's marked if never? It doesn't actually run like that. That's run through a virtual machine. Yeah, the initialization overlay. Yeah, I shouldn't go too much deeper into this because it's just insane. But if you want an insane time reading assembly code, this is something I had a lot of fun writing. Anyway, popping layers off the stack. We're both fans of this weird chip and RFID, and so that's about all I know about what's going to be in here. Oh yeah. Dean mentions Propeller is available in a DIP 40 package, which is quite nice. Yeah, I have a couple of those. They're huge, but yeah, they're nice if you want to do everything in 0.1 inch. Oh, okay, cool. Josiah adds a +1 for YouTube, personally just because they're not on Twitch or the other platforms. Yeah, fair enough. Not, you know, sometimes you just don't want to have to subscribe to yet another thing. I mean, I know that's why a lot of people are using the YouTube chat instead of the Gitter chat, which is totally fine. The Gitter chat just has more options for stuff. Although YouTube added a chat replay feature, so even though it's not like native on the stream or like in the video, you can see it in the YouTube client now during the replays. Yeah, just to reiterate, this is not the last stream ever, just the last stream on the Scanlime channel. And if you go to the scanlime.org site or the main Scanlime YouTube channel, there's a link to the new Scanlime in Progress channel where you'll see the new episodes, or the new live streams, rather. Whoa. Oh man, a JTagulator sticker and a Grand Idea sticker. Whoa, and... Oh. Oh, yes, this is a new RFID doodad which can read or write cards. Oh, yes. Oh, this is great. So read, write, USB, serial, USB. Yeah. So the one I have right now is, I guess, the 4th one here, the RFID reader for serial. Where would that be? Let me see if I can grab that really quick. Uh-oh. Which of these two bins would it be in? Oh, this one. Cool. That's the same one from the pictures. Oh, the camera. I really am looking forward to having remote control of the gimbal so I can have some help aiming for the cat. I hear you, Tuco. Also some help throwing bolts. Para says, I've got mail, or rather, you've got mail. If I did that right. Actually, yeah. Actually, if I play that actual sound effect, I'm going to risk angering the copyright bots. Do you think they look for stuff like that? I've only had them match on actual music, but then I've heard of people having music matches based on sound effects that were then sampled by matched music. So that's the one I already had. What are these chips? If I remember right, one of these was an application-specific chip, and one of them was a SX Micro. Let's take a look at the microscope. Yeah, so that's an actual RFID receiver application-specific chip. So this is going to help with generating the carrier wave and then demodulating the results. I don't think it does much. I think it does just like amplitude demodulation, maybe. You know, like a peak detector. So EM4095. And then, oh, it's a PIC. PIC 16F627. And this just outputs fully decoded ASCII like card numbers and hex out over serial. So there's that. Let's see what's new. Oh yeah, stickers. Always appreciate getting stickers. This is great. I've been accumulating stickers on my rack lately. I feel like it used to be the thing I would do is put stickers on my laptop. I've still got stickers on my laptop. It's kind of full. I could start covering up the stickers, but like the point of putting stickers on your laptop, I think, is usually so people at cafes and like your coworkers would see them. But I think the closest thing I have here is putting stickers on the rack, because then, you know, people see them on the stream and in person. Right, Dean says laptops are for a couple years, racks are forever. Yeah, right. I mean, I could take the side panel off and like clean the stickers off if I wanted to, but I mean, why? There's so much life this rack could have. I mean, it's not like 19-inch standards going away anytime soon. Oh yeah. This is the USB 28540 RFID read write. Is that a part number or the kind of chip that it reads or writes? Anyway, that's cool. We'll take another look at that in a sec. A2 Proto. This has a little dangle wire. Is that dangle wire maybe ground? Oh, that's an FTDI chip on this one. So it looks like we've got a read-write. This might be just a read, or it might be another prototype of the read-write. It says we have 3 of the read-write prototypes. Are these using the same chips? These look like the same design. just at a glance. Yeah, I think these are the same. This one says firmware 2.0, March 1st. This one looks new. 125 kilohertz. Is that 122 volts? This might be the voltage measured at resonance, which could be that high, but I would expect it to be a little lower. That might also be like a 1.22 or something for like a supply voltage. But then this says demodulated 2.38 volts. 500 milliamp current limit, yeah. Wow. This is cool. I have not done any experimentation with read-write RFID tags so far. That would definitely be something to look into. Whoa, this one's pretty. I mean, they're all pretty, but like this one's unexpectedly shiny too. Oh, this looks hand soldered. That's great. Rev A prototype. So this is the same chip, I think, the EM4095. And I think that's the FTDI and that's the micro, but let's take another look with the microscope. Yeah, that's a PIC something or other 16F628, I think. Another FT232, EM4095. That's pretty great. This really funky, like red and purple kind of solder mask. That's great. This is maybe the third of the read-write boards, or... Oh, maybe this one's read-only, because it did have that same chip. I would kind of expect the read-write version to use a different chip. I mean, unless the read-write capability is just modulating the carrier that you're already sending out. I mean, and you don't need any extra circuitry on the reader for that. Oh, so there's only one of these to be read-only. All of these are read-write. It's just that one of them was serial and 3 of them are USB. All of these 3 seem to be USB. This one's labeled as USB, but what is it actually? This one's also EM4095. Yeah, this is, yeah, peak-to-peak voltage, 103 volts. That's great. So when it transmits, it's forming a resonant LC circuit between the inductor formed by these turns of wire, and I'm assuming this capacitor. And just like a pendulum, it swings and retains most of its energy, so you can just kind of keep adding energy to it. And it forms an equilibrium eventually, but that tends to be at a pretty high voltage if you do it right. So that's pretty nice. It looks like we've got 4 read-write units so far. But I don't see any of these being serial unless we missed something. Maybe one of these has a broken FTDI chip. I don't know. Yeah, these all seem to be USB. Let's see what's in here. This one is serial read write. Maybe one of these is read-only then. Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, this one looks very much like the first one. There's a nice little capacitor stack bodge. Sometimes you just need extra capacitance. Nice multicolor LED. Serial definitely this time. This is a different pick. Pick 16F723. Some stacky capacitor bits. I've definitely done that before. And EM495. I've probably done that before on this channel. Alright, that's great. Let's see, let's take a look at the data sheet for this maybe. I'm curious what the read-write capabilities are like. So let's actually just go to the product page for this first of all. I think Tuco's still in the hallway. Cool. That's this dude. Ah, they can store 116 bytes of user data. Oh, so these will be great for, if you're... I was imagining, where was it? I think this was the Natural History Museum in Denver when I grew up there. We would go there and they had this hall of life where you could experience all these different exhibits about biology and nature and your body, and so a lot of them were about health and humans, and they let you customize it with personal information. And so of course the way you did this, and this was I think designed in the early 90s maybe, yeah, so it was like running on DOS PCs with these, I think, little read-write RFID cards, kind of like this, that would store information about, your height and weight and name and stuff like that. Okay, Son of the Cakes is chiming in to ask why this is the last live stream. So I'll mention it again. This is not the last live stream I'm doing. It's the last live stream on this YouTube channel. So what I'm doing is just splitting off the live streams into a separate channel, because right now I think it's interfering with my ability to just have a channel that has nice edited videos on it, because I think people come for the edited videos and then leave for the live streams. So I think having a separate channel for the live streams will just let people who are into the live streams be into them there, and then not have to inundate people who just want the occasional polished video. So there are links, if you go to scanlime.org, there are links on live streaming to the Twitch stream and to the new YouTube channel. This is where the next stream will be, so you can subscribe here to get notified for the next streams. And there's also a link on the main YouTube page. So you just go here. this will be focusing on the edited videos, and it has a link to the other channel for scanlime in progress. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, it's frustrating that YouTube doesn't let me just keep them on the same channel easily. It seems like they really just want you to have separate channels for separate kinds of content, and that's the only tool they give you to manage that, really. So that's what I'm gonna have to do. Hopefully it isn't too painful along the way. Cool, let's look at the documentation for this. Bicolor LED, USB or TTL, store 116 bytes of data. I don't know if I'm curious if I have any of these tags. The 4x50s. Yeah, I know I have a bunch of these 4100 tags. I don't think I have any of the read-write tags. I might have to get some of those. Or emulate them. Yeah, no, that would be a challenge, right? Emulating one of these read-write tags using a general purpose processor. Because I don't know how you'd write the EEPROM on the processor safely. That would be tricky. This is a nice, easy protocol for reading and writing bytes. I wanna see what the wire protocol looks like, actually. This is what, EM blah 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 50. What's the actual model number? I was looking for something more specific to Google for than 4x50. Well, let's hope there's enough connections between this and what I actually want. EM micro. This is not what I was looking for, but it's kind of interesting. This is a different reader, the 4x69. $44.50. I think this is what we want. Let's see if they describe the protocol here. So this is like the canonical chip that this is designed to talk to, as best I can tell. Oh, applications. So like garage entry systems and payment and stuff like that. Manufacturing automation. Rolling code automotive immobilizer, interesting. So your basic RFID card has most of these parts. So it has like a little bridge rectifier to recover some DC power from the AC on the coil, then regulate it and make sure that this only runs when the power is good. You also extract the clock from the coil. You extract the data. So this part is new. This thing where you're looking for data in the carrier wave is not in a read-only RFID card. In a read-only card, you're just extracting the clock and stepping through some memory and using that to basically like clamp some extra damping across the coil or let it resonate more in order to send back a signal. Interesting. So read mode is the normal. What? Yeah, so transponder coil here is the one on the tag, the transponder. I think what they mean by read mode is when the tag is not being written to. I'm assuming receive is like writing to the tag. It looks like they're sending data in these gaps in the transmit. Memory map, password. Yeah, this distinction between read mode and receive mode is very weird. I think receive mode means that the chip is listening for data in the carrier, which might then cause it to write. Okay, so the carrier is frequency modulated. Yeah, this is interesting. So I'm sure Joe has spent plenty of time with this data sheet. Oh, it's pulse width modulating the carrier, not frequency modulating it. Because yeah, frequency modulating would be hard because this whole thing relies on like really narrowly tuned oscillator or resonant circuits. High Q would be the term. So Q is the quality factor, and higher Q means more energy is being conserved, which makes the frequency narrower. It also makes it take longer to start and stop. So shifting the frequency would be hard. So it looks like they've got bit periods where you're either transmitting continuously or there's a gap. I don't know why I'm getting tips on how to use the mouse, but I know how to use mice, thanks. I don't think I care about that. Anyway, this is great. Yeah, I don't think I have any tags that are compatible with this right now, but this like bounty of prototype hardware is really awesome. I mean, it's really cool to see the actual prototypes that Joe assembled for these readers. And now I've got more RFID readers around. And once I actually get some writable tags, I can experiment with that side of it too. That's great. Well, thanks so much, Joe. I appreciate the little slice of, like nice look into your kind of design prototyping process and a nice little bounty of RFID hardware. Cool. there's another package that some of you might have noticed, this like large bold port package. Yeah, so there's usually a backlog of bold port packages here. Unfortunately, I get so much great stuff from bold port, and then I don't stream it often enough. And I think for a while I was worried about inundating the channel with too many streams, but I do that anyway. So I think now the limiting factor is more that I tend to stream just about every day anyway, and I just end up choosing between topics that are part of an ongoing project or topics that are kind of something new. And so when I'm streaming something new, I'll definitely be reaching for bold port kits anytime I can. Oh, this is not going to be a kit assembly stream, but I wanted to at least open this one because there's some extra stuff in there, as you might have guessed. I put these stickers on the rack. Oh, there's 2 Grand Idea stickers. Nice. So one of them can go on the rack and one can go elsewhere, like on my laptop. All right, package from Boldport. So Boldport is this pretty nice subscription electronics kit service. They've actually recently started putting the project number on the box, so now it's a little easier to sort through the ones that I haven't opened yet. I like opening them in the video, so I have a stack of unopened boxes, unfortunately, which is kind of sad, but as I said, I'll try to be doing more of these because they're so nice. They're really good. And I know I'm too much of a perfectionist with the edited videos, so I'm going to try to just get more stuff out there. Alright, this is for Tuco. Hey, Tuco. Oh yeah, more stickers. Join the resistors. Oh cool, another ananas sticker. Nice. I've already got one of these in my rack. To find another place for that one to go. I've got some door space. Some little Boldport Club stickers. Oh nice, this was the Weidler. Oh, this one's gonna be a lot of fun to put together. This is going to be a challenging surface mount puzzle, if I remember right. So, nice. So yeah, we'll have to dig into this quite soon. This is going to be fun. It's a surface mount project based on, if I remember right, this is an op-amp, the UA723. What was that chip? Let's look that up really quick. Oh, it's a voltage regulator. Oh yes, this will be really fun, because this is, like, we don't usually go into the details of how voltage regulators work, right? They're just such a jelly bean part. But this is a voltage regulator from 1967, and it's actually, like, it's not a 3-pin part. It's a bigger, like, SOIC part in this case. And it's more like, if I remember right, kind of a construction kit of parts that you might use to build your own voltage regulator. So this will be a lot of fun. Definitely. Oh. Okay, this is great. Is the cat cam running? Because this stream, like, Tuco has the best spot right now. Such a good cat. This one definitely included something for him. Oh yeah. Check that out. Nice shiny Boldport t-shirt. Or Boldport Club t-shirt. Sweet. Well, that's great. I'll have to be wearing that on the stream. Ah, well, thanks so much. Sorry it took me a while to open this, but my backlog is too real. Yeah. Join the resistors. Cool. Well, soon we will have to dig into another delightful kit and have some bold port attire while we do it. Oh, Fabio likes the squeaky noises the motors make when the bot moves. I'm glad you do. It's oscillating a little bit. I think that's the computer vision tracking causing the oscillation. It'll stop doing that if I... Yeah, so it's actually oscillating between seeing his head and his whole body. If I back up, it'll stop doing that. Man, the to-do list for the software is really big right now, and I haven't been working on it that much because I've been focusing on like other projects and getting a video out. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to having a control mode where the controls are relative to the camera's current orientation rather than relative to the room as they are right now. Animacore is suggesting adding a laser for Tuco to chase. Yeah, no, I plan to add some toys to this whole setup. I don't know how much it's going to be actually on the robot because, like, I think a lot of it might make more sense to have it be sort of a separate robot or separate thing in the room. But yeah, I think a laser would be nice. I don't want to add just a laser because I think that would be kind of mean, just giving him something he can't actually catch and enjoy because that's what he likes. A bolt thrower would be optimal. So I've been meaning to actually start up some more concrete steps on that project because that's definitely due. Yeah, a bolt thrower will be one of the upcoming things we add to this. If you're new to Tuco, Tuco is really into bolts. He really likes 1/4-20 nylon bolts. Those are his favorite. And he will just chase them anywhere and bring them back. It looks like he's heading back into the hallway. The camera is having trouble getting much further than right there or so, which is probably fine. All right, well, thanks for all the goodies, both Joe and Czar. Thank you. I think we're heading into the next phase of this stream where I try to do something silly with an aquarium pump. So this is a bit different. It's a little bit related to the stream I did. When was that? Like last week. Let me see if I can find it for reference here. Oh yeah, the Aura Interactor. All right, so we took apart this thing kind of recently that was actually basically a linear, like a linear vibration actuator. And it was interesting. I wanted it mostly for setting up like weird music video photography systems. So, you know, like we just investigated this a little bit and then tried doing a little bit of photography with a petri dish full of liquid on top of the actuator. And that, you know, causes some nice standing wave patterns. That was kind of fun. And I did a little bit more experimentation with this and got some kind of interesting video. By the way, this it was kind of a like borderline hilarious device. It was kind of interesting. Like it does actually have some I don't know, like vibration actuators are interesting, right? Like there is like some realness to like wanting to have that kind of feedback for media, but it was also like very, very 90s and kind of strange to see that as a virtual reality device in this day and age. Yeah. So I don't know, what did I make that was actually worth sharing? I mean, I've just been experimenting with this so far, and nothing is really as it should be, but I did some experiments that were leading in an interesting direction. And I like some of this stuff with the combination of the tiny, tiny tubing and the wires kind of intermingling like this, and using, you know, the tubing where you would use wires and vice versa. And here I was having some luck with using the vibration actuator to make some nice standing wave patterns in the dish here, and then also to just kind of like throw beads of water up onto the wires that would then vibrate and then fall down, and that effect was pretty cool. So I got some elements of stuff that were good here. The vibration also tended to coalesce the beads of water on the bottom, interestingly. There was also some condensation because the actuator was putting off some heat. The synchronization might be slightly off on this video, but it was supposed to be synchronized to the music. I included enough in the audio channel of this video that I could actually like get it resynced during editing without as much trouble, but it's not necessarily super synced right now. So some of the bass instruments here are just really going at it with the surface waves, which is nice. I keep imagining wanting to do something with the tubing, like the actual fluid in the tubing in the audio frequency range, though. I don't know how practical it is. I mean, I could definitely do something at lower frequencies using a peristaltic pump to move bubbles through there, like at the beat or something. And so that's something I don't have a lot of question about. I'm pretty sure that'll work. I'm pretty sure it'll look good. So I might add some of that later. But right now I'm kind of curious about the more experimental stuff, like could I apply some audio frequency vibration to the stuff inside the pipes and have that be interesting? Like, would it give me interesting motion? Would it give me interesting kind of surface distortions along the fluid in the tube, like if I'm looking at that with a microscope? So that could be interesting. I started thinking about how to do that. Like maybe I take like a speaker cone and just like effectively seal it and make it into a cavity that I can attach to small tubing like this. That might be okay. I tried simulating that without going through too much effort by placing the vibration actuator on top of like a sealed bag that was attached to this tubing. And that wasn't really efficient enough to see anything good. I think I need something that's more like a horn that directs the energy through the water or through some air, which then interfaces with the water interestingly. I also still don't know how much I can rely on air versus water to transmit the energy. I mean, water will certainly transmit more energy more effectively, but I think if I have an air-water mix in the tubing, I need to be working with something that like moves all right through air. So anyway, I thought I would try an experiment. I have no idea if this will work or lead anywhere good, but I wanted to see if I could drive an aquarium air pump at audio frequencies into tubing like this and see if that would let me do any interesting effects. And there are other transducers, yeah. Fabio mentions maybe a sonar transducer. We've seen like sealed ultrasonic elements on this channel that might be useful for stuff like that. I just don't think I could get much displacement, which is definitely something I need for this experiment. There's also the big piezos used for like an ultrasonic cleaner, which could maybe cause some really interesting surface waves, but wouldn't be something I could use for like maybe visible waves in these bubbles. But I don't know. Yeah, something to think about for sure. That's an interesting question. Josiah asks, would Tuco play with a ball, like a hamster ball size, with a camera streaming inside the ball and maybe some motors to push it around, or vibrate, or whatever the best option would be? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Tuco would be into that. He'd be especially into it if he thought there was some creature inside that he could provoke to get out for him. This is like more flow, which is pretty nice. And I could achieve this kind of flow with just an air source and a little container of the liquid, and then just like pressurize the container. And I could do that with shop air here and a regulator. I could do that using the same like modified air pump, just with air. And so, yeah, I was basically thinking about something that was turning a speaker into a diaphragm pump without a one-way valve. And so here I'm thinking, well, what about just turning a diaphragm pump into a speaker? And maybe I want the one-way valve, because some flow would actually be kind of nice. Tuco decided to join us. Oh man, it's nice when it's smooth and then like it doesn't last too long, because then there'll be like one of those little jerky moments where one of the winches just starts up from 0 and pulls it suddenly. If I can avoid those though, there's some nice smoothness to be had. Oh yeah, this part was kind of nice too. So yeah, I mean, I could definitely do with just some pumping, but I'm curious if there's something I can gain from having the vibration also. Oh yeah, Paul says that the Sphero friend. Yeah, that does sound kind of like a Sphero. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Tuco would play with something like that. He used to have this thing that was like an egg-shaped toy that he could roll around to get food out of. And he kind of was into that, but it wasn't his favorite thing. Oh, hey, Fuzzo. Alright, so this is just going to start with a teardown of the aquarium pump, and then I had a couple of ideas for how to drive it. One was to just hook an audio amplifier up to the secondary of a mains transformer, and then hook the primary up to the air pump and see how far we get with that strategy. The other strategy would be to try modifying like a 12 volts, like automotive car inverter kind of thing, to let us modulate at audio frequencies. Oh, right, Paul suggests filling it with bolts instead of food. That's actually a great idea. I should see if that works. I like the surface waves in this part here. I mean, it's just an experiment, but it's a thing that I might want to keep that aspect of it. Okay, I'm getting more questions about why this is the last stream on the channel. So I'm moving the live streams to a different channel. Let me just show that again. I'm just gonna have to do that continuously throughout the stream, because people need to know. So I'm having trouble with my YouTube channel because people keep seeing the live streams and then leaving, I think. So I'm trying to fix this by moving the live streams to a separate YouTube channel. So if you go to my main scanlime channel, why are we here? If you go to the main scanlime channel, you'll see the edited videos. Then you'll also see a link to scanlime in progress, which is where the new live streams are going to be. So subscribe there if you like the streams, and that's where the next ones are going to be. This will be the last one on the main channel. There are also links if you go to scanlime.org. There's like a blog roll with the recent finished stuff. There's also a link to the YouTube channel. There's also a link to the separate YouTube live channel. And so it's funny, Josiah was like, do you know you can middle click to open in a new tab? And I'm like, yes, I know. It is actually more ergonomic right now for me in this situation to right click and then click the menu. And also that shows you what I'm doing. Not like you care, but I don't know, that was my thinking behind it. If you just click that, it'll go to Twitch. If you go to Twitch stream or Tuco Flyer, it'll go to those Twitch streams. There's also a link to the Gitter chat. So yeah. Emily's like, why didn't you call it Scan Live? Why didn't I call it Scan Live? Would that be easier for people to find? I wanted it to have scanlime in the name so that it would show up in a search for scanlime is I guess the reason I didn't call it Scan Live, but it's a cute name. Yeah, I mean, we could change the name maybe. It's Scanlime in Progress seemed like I could have just made it Scanlime Live, but that seemed like too much of a tongue twister at the time, and then I gave the bot that name because Scanlime in Progress was too long. Scamline. Yeah, I got that a lot when I used this nick on IRC. Oh man, this is not just a pump, this is a whole like aquarium aeration kit. I didn't realize that. So we've got some tubing, which should be useful. It's a little flexible, it probably absorbs a lot of vibration. Oh yeah, Josiah also suggests maybe attaching a toy mouse on a string toy to like a robot. Yeah, I wouldn't want to attach something like that to the camera robot, but maybe a different robot would be great. I don't want to do anything that encourages him to fight the camera. So we've got a check valve, which is just a one-way valve, which might be useful. We've got some tubing. I've got a little bit more tubing than this, but it's nice to have some. There's an aeration stone, which makes lots of little bubbles, which could be fun for videos too. Oh, I'm glad you like the citrus barcode logo. It's very old at this point. Were we not servo AF? Oh yeah, Tuco does look really cozy. Alright, so this was just like a random inexpensive air pump I found to see if I could take it apart and modify it for this purpose, basically. It is screwed. I was hoping it was not just glued. It felt like it might have just been glued, but there are definitely 2 screws right there. So I might have to zoom in. There is a separate channel with just the cat feed though, so if you want more cat, there's that. Ultra quiet, right? That's like the opposite of what I'm going for. I want a rockin' bass air pump here. Dean said, never did check to see if the barcode was valid. Actually, it's funny you had mentioned that. That's another slight diversion while I find a file. Do I have that file on this computer? Why would I ever have any files on a computer? Let's see, do I have... Will that computer wake up? Anyway, it might be too much jack shaving to get to it right now, but I made, so the current one does not scan, it's just like an aesthetic thing that looks kind of like a barcode. I made one a while ago that did actually scan though, on a photograph of a lime. and it scans to scanlime. Yeah, that's what I want. That's totally what I want. Oh yeah, Fabio suggests a pneumatic proportional valve. That sounds expensive. How expensive is it? Are we... Oh, it's this channel. I just was not seeing that on my little monitor because the screen was black until I unlocked it. Oh gosh. The text is so little. There's so much video routing going on here. One of the files in here is the one I was talking about. Not that one. How do I zoom in? In what world does it make sense for the scroll wheel to go between files instead of zooming in? Yeah, so you can try to scan that if you want. I think I might have been missing like the start and end characters, so I don't know if, like, some scanners might not like it. I'm curious, actually. Does my phone scan this? I do appreciate how the phone app will scan QR codes now. I don't think it's scanning. That's fine. I don't even know if it scans these. Data matrix? Yeah, data matrix would be great. I like data matrix. Let's take a look at that link, because this computer is obviously too magnified for me to use now. Oh man, I can just click this and go to the stream chat. Look at that link. So useful. Oh, $200 valves. Stepless control of airflow or pressure. That seems useful. Where are prices? Or model numbers? Oh gosh. I don't think I want to do any of those things. Let's see what the Fleabay price is at least. Ooh. This kids is why I'm modeling, or this kids is why I'm modifying a less than $10 aquarium pump. I'm sure the results will be very different, but maybe this will be something I can use anyway. Car parts. See, that's great. They have servo feedback. That's very nice. It might be handy to have like one of these in the shop for experiments. I'll have to think about acquiring a proportional valve at some point. Okay. Well, let's go back to the real world here. So we have a pretty nice plastic cover, a squishy diaphragm. This is not actually connected, so this is just kind of hanging, just a hanging magnet. So we basically want to use this like a speaker coil to just swing this magnet back and forth at audio frequencies. And then higher frequencies probably aren't going to do much. Lower frequencies at some point will hit resonance and probably do a significant amount of pumping, and there might be some other interesting in-between states. But my thinking is basically try to get it to be controlled via an audio amplifier first, see what it's like just pumping music into it, and then try to get like an Ableton filter chain to do something interesting to a music track, to condition it to do something interesting via this. So that's kind of where I'm thinking of going. And the main challenge here at this point is just that this coil is kind of a high voltage to be useful. Like, you can't just plug this directly into an audio amplifier and have it do much. We should measure the impedance, actually, or the DC resistance. Oh, interesting. Alexi did a back of the envelope or head calculation on getting barely like a kind of visible movement of thin, like water in a thin tube from a little piezo disc. So a 30mm diameter piezo sounder, which is one of the really big ones, and 30 cubic millimeters of water. Oh, that's interesting. That sounds really high. 30 cubic millimeters? For only a volt? That sounds really high, but that's interesting. Like, if we could get that much, it definitely would be useful. Because, yeah, I'm thinking these tubes have a diameter of like a millimeter, like less than a millimeter. Wow, 4 kiloohms on this coil. Yeah. So my first thought is to try the simple thing, which would be to just use a mains transformer in reverse to try to step up. That's gonna just like have all sorts of weird effects on the frequency response, but it might be a good just first thing to try. I don't think there's really much to do inside this case, honestly. The plug seems to just be wired straight into the coil, so we can just alligator clip onto the plug and get what we want. If we wanted to modify this to have something else at the inlet instead of just ambient air, there would need to be like another cover over this, because that looks like the one-way valve right there is exposed. So that's where the air comes in from. And this can't be completely sealed because the ambient air needs to come in through just gaps in this enclosure. Yeah, I don't see a specific vent. It must just be assuming the air slowly diffuses in around all the gaps. Okay. Well, we might as well keep the cover off so we can see the magnet move, because that might be fun, but we don't need to modify this. So I've also just got a little Class D amplifier over here. And then I've got this inverter that we might take apart and modify if this doesn't work for us. Let's just try out the amplifier as it is. I've just got it connected to a couple of speakers. Make sure this all still works from when I had it set up earlier. I don't know how to pronounce your name. In Excelsis Deo? I see. They're saying that Ableton is cool, but they like to use Reaper because you can program it. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people like Reaper. I have not tried it myself, but I might have to try it one of these days. I tried Ableton and just kind of fell in love with it, and there are some things I don't like about it. I do frequently hit its file size limits. Like if I'm just trying to use it to do continuous recording and filtering. To do that really properly, I kind of need an external recorder, unfortunately. But I use it to do filtering a lot. Yeah, I don't know what programming Reaper is like, but I've done a little bit of programming and scripting Ableton via Max for Live. Like you can use Max for Live to kind of indirectly glue JavaScript and Ableton if you want. You can also just send MIDI messages. But yeah, I like using Ableton as just a standalone audio workstation, but then I've also kind of integrated it into my setup here, and I use it for filtering. Oh right, this is not even plugged in. I mean, the power supply is not turned on. Also, I don't remember what this amplifier is supposed to be rated for. I remember buying it for a system that was going to be operating off of 24 volts. So I'm assuming the amplifier is good for that. But now that I'm actually looking at this board, which was some kind of eBay special, the input capacitor is rated to only 25 volts. So I think I'm going to be running it at 12 volts right now. Oh, Tuco's sitting on my power cable, but it's okay, the leads go over here. Oh, beefy audio amplifiers. Well, I don't know about like beefy. I don't have just like a big like old school speaker amplifier. I have some of these Class D modules which should do this job. The speakers that I usually use for actual music around here are all they're all monitors that have built-in amplifiers. Oh yeah, and then this, I was going to measure the DC resistance of the windings. So that is the secondary at 9.4 ohms, which should be something the amplifier can drive all right. And what is the primary? 500 ohms, all right, at DC. So I'm just going to hook this up and see if we get, well, so first I'm just going to try the amplifier normally, and then I'm going to take one of the speakers and replace it with the secondary of that transformer. All right, 12 volts. Whoa, sorry, that scared me. Yeah, okay. A motor driver might be nice too. I just don't have motor drivers with analog inputs, and I want this coming from an audio source at some point. Oh, Manaray asks if I still have a Radio Shack near me. Oh, because this thing had a Radio Shack logo. I mean, I bought this a long time ago. I definitely bought this at a Radio Shack, but like that was a while ago. That was many years ago. I think there are Radio Shacks around here, though. There are not many, but I think they exist. So this amplifier seems fine. If I crank it, I think we're going to mostly be limited by these speakers. I was hitting the power supply's current limiting too, which I had set pretty low, but all right. I think these will have enough power. I forget what this amp is actually rated for, but like I'm pretty sure it's actually pretty beefy. So let's turn that off and add a transformer. Tuco, I'm sorry. Alright, with the power off, I'm just going to cut this wire and solder it to the transformer. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. And Excelsis says that in Reaper you can program it in Lua. That sounds like something I would like. I mean, to be fair, I haven't looked that much into scripting, because like I saw the Max for Live stuff and that was good enough for what I needed at the time. But like there might be other options for Ableton. I mean, I'm not like married to Ableton. I just use it right now because I like it. Let's do a little soldering. Oh yeah, that sounds right. 26 volts, my arse. On a 25 volt rated capacitor. That's probably the eBay listing this is. It's just that upper rating is suspect. That's probably just copying the chip datasheet. But I think I could go above 12 volts. I just don't know if I'd hit entirely 24 volts. I wonder if I can light a neon bulb with this thing running open circuit. I don't know if I want to run it open circuit. You can just generate kind of unbounded voltages if there's some resonance. And so you can damage stuff, although it's usually fine. And sorry to scare anyone with the live stream title, but just in case anyone still has questions about that, this is not the last stream I'm doing, it's just the last stream that's going on the main channel, because it seems to be interfering with a lot of folks just subscribing to the edited videos, because of the torrent of live streams that maybe not everyone is into. So if you are into the live streams, then you can just subscribe to the secondary channel, Scanlime in Progress. There's a link to that on the main YouTube channel, and there's also a link to that on scanlime.org. I'm going to try my luck with some alligator clips. I usually don't have great luck with alligator clips, but this might do. And it's a convenient way of grabbing onto a plug. And we might stick this on the oscilloscope too. Let's just first power this up and see if we get any movement out of the magnet. Stay away from the high voltage there, cat. Alright, I'm gonna power this up. 12 volts. I can feel the magnet moving. Yeah, it's definitely acting as a speaker. It's not a great speaker, but it's alright. It'd be great if I could adjust the balance on this iPad to give more power to that channel, but as it is, I think I'm just going to disconnect one of these channels so that I don't have super loud speaker blasty music also. Just slicing this and then separating the wires, and I'll just run this channel open There might be ways of paralleling both channels, but that would really depend on how the amplifier topology is designed. I'd have to check the datasheet to see if that's possible, and if so, how to do it. I mean, you could also just use 2 transformers and then parallel the output to the transformers, and that would probably be fine. I guess I might do that. Alright, power on again. Let's give it a little more voltage and current. So I'm going to crank it up to 20 volts. And what, 2 amps? You can hear it rattling. Oh yeah. It's only like 2 watts right now. Crank it up more. Oh, cool. Oh gosh. I can hear something over here singing. It could be the transformer. I'm worried it's the capacitors on the amplifier board. Oh my god, that's unnerving. I'm hearing the bass come out of the pump and the treble come out of the circuit board. Let's get the oscilloscope on this thing and then just try to make some bubbles. I want to see what the waves look like. Let's maybe see what they look like in, like, I was going to say the input and the output of the transformer. Neither of these inputs are ground. Like, this is probably like an H-bridge driver. So both of these are probably swinging between 0 and 20 volts. So what I probably want to do is have 3 scope channels. 1 just across the output and 1 between ground and each of the inputs. Should also get the thermal camera handy just to see if any of this stuff is getting angry. Oh, it was handy. Narrator. Coil is cold. iPad is warm. Transformer is cold. Amplifier. You bozos. This is, gosh, I really wish there was a better middle ground between the really high-priced development boards you get from like TI directly and like this Fleabag garbage. So that bright spot on the left is their reverse protection diode. And the bright spot on the right is some stupid resistor. Those might pop during the stream. So the capacitor seems fine, but the diode and resistors next to the power input are cranky. What is going on? I just turned off the power and I want to just try to see what these are for. So I assume that's reverse protection. Might not be, but... No. Oh no! Is it a Zener diode 5-volt power supply? Is that what they're doing here? I think it might just be a really inefficient 5-volt power supply. Let's see, because it's not a, this doesn't have reverse protection. Like VCC is going right in there to the capacitor. If you put reverse voltage, that capacitor is just exploding. That's weird. Look at what they did with the PCB artwork on this thing. This thing is designed by people who were not really paying attention. Look at that. Okay, there's no reason for a pad to ever look like that. This is supposed to be a ground, right? They've got a couple of thermal attachments over here that are super tiny, and then just like this mess. And then this is isolated for some reason, but attached. Like, why? I mean, I can think of maybe some reasons to do that intentionally, like you want to have some resistance there, but I don't see that here. What is going on there? Is that separating different kinds of grounds? Oh, the output of the diode? Yeah, where does that go? So where is this going? Is that trace? Those two resistors are in parallel, like they're trying to share the load. That looks kind of like it's trying to be a power supply. Let's buzz that out. This wasn't intended to be a let's critique my amplifier session, but this amplifier might be terrible. I mean the breakout board for it. So is this wouldn't be going to either of these, right? No? That's the 10 ohms. So plus is 0 ohms to that. And that should be 10 ohms if I was reading it at all. Well, yeah, for 500 ohms. So that's 1K. Why is it? Okay, that's not too bad. 500 ohms across the input is like better than like 50 ohms or 5 ohms, but not great. This has got to be like a little 5-volt Zener. Yeah, and that's connected, ground. So this is just their extremely cheap low voltage power supply. That's fine. It's not going to get more warm as I turn up the output power. It's just going to be more warm as I turn up the input voltage. So it's going to be about as warm now as it's going to get. But another reason why this breakout board definitely is not going to be happy at 24 volts long term. Yeah, totally. And like Alexi's saying, there can be reasons for the weird grounding. Like it could be trying to do a star ground, for sure. Like I was trying to just see whether it was sensible. It just doesn't. I can't quite see it, but maybe it's there. All right, 20 volts again. Definitely singing capacitors. It's not the potted transformer, it's the capacitors over there. That makes me nervous. Yeah, a flea bay audio amplifier with capacitors that sing in the audio frequencies. Nothing wrong with that. Gevorg is asking, what's with RFID? That was a little bit earlier. I was unboxing some stuff that Joe Grand sent, actually some prototypes of his RFID readers. So that's what the RFID was for in the title. We didn't really go deep into it. We just kind of took it out of the box and looked at the datasheet a little bit. Do I have any good grounds around here? Let's just make use of this, maybe. I'm gonna solder a ground onto this with the power off. How did we end up on this channel? Yeah, I'm just gonna put a ground right there. Oh, to go. Emily is well on her way to making a speaker only out of capacitors. Yeah, definitely trying not to solder the cat here. Usually he isn't this close when I'm soldering. Okay, let's flip that over. Now there's a place to attach the oscilloscope. Multiple places to attach the scope. Hurrah. So, I'm gonna do that thing I just said I would do. Yeah, I agree. Pierre says Tuco in croissant mode is very nice. Oh, and then Merge is asking what fume extractor I'm using. This is the AOU 486. It's not great. It's basically just a fan. But, you know, it's alright. I just have it mounted on a stand so I can swing it over here. Just sitting it on the desk works for most people, but it vibrates my microscope, so I had to mount it on a separate stand. Alright, so those are the two channels for the drive side of this transformer. And then let's get the view on the output. The transformer itself is isolating, so we can just arbitrarily connect one of the outputs to ground, and that'll be fine. Otherwise, if this was like an auto transformer, we couldn't get away with that. Where's the scope? Scope. Oh, Emily's wondering if it's just blowing fumes around in the same space. I mean, mostly, but it's like getting them away from your face. There's a little bit of an absorbing pad. I don't know how much that actually does. If you were in a smaller space, you can set up a hose on the back to take the fumes outside. But I'm in such a huge and drafty space here that like stuff tends to just go outside on its own. Alright, so that channel should be somewhat high voltage. Not necessarily high enough that I need to break out any specialty probes, but I mean, so what are our actual limits right now? 300 volt RMS. We should be fine there, but we should keep an eye on it. I think I've got a 100x probe. It's just not quite as nice as these probes. All right, let's start out at low volume. Oh, are you gonna give me some space, Tuco? Kind of. Thank you, boy. Oh, there's my blue channel. Okay, I've just got them all set to 20 volt per division right now. So power on. So those inputs actually both are now kind of floating somewhere in between the power supply voltage and 0. Can we see any modulation? Kind of. We should probably AC couple both of those inputs, although it could be nice to see the DC component. Anyway, let's try playing the audio now. Yeah, so that's 50 volts per division. Let's try a frequency generator. Oh, the camera found Tuco and he's having a good time. That's great. Oh, Paul's wondering about the interactor. Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 ohms. It looked like it was probably intended to be 4 ohms. Okay, so I can adjust the volume and adjust the peak-to-peak voltage. I could definitely throw a neon bulb on this thing and light the neon bulb with the amplifier. That's not bad. That's 2200. Let's keep the amplitude small just in case we get any peaking here. Let's throw the frequency up on there too. Cool. Wow. That's not bad. Like, it seems pretty flat across that range, at least. Oh, now we got some peaking. Oh yeah, let's not go any higher than that. At least not with the scope connected. Because it looks like we might be hitting some resonance in the secondary side of the transformer. And we could end up with some resonance that might damage the scope if we go too high there. And down here, we're far away from the resonance, and so that looks reasonably flat. There's a little bit of a change in amplitude, like it goes a little lower as we decrease in frequency. Oh yeah, that's a good question. Paul was wondering if the interactor's amplifier would do all right with this. That's a good question. We should try that. Wow. This is 250 hertz. I can feel the movement of the magnet, but it's not very large amplitude. Now I'm starting to hear it around 86 hertz. $50. So we should be able to pump normally at 60 hertz, right? Oops. That was 20 hertz. That's too low. Anyway, the output seems to be pretty stable down here. And the power is really low. It's like 2 watts right here. I'll put more power through it, just not with the scope connected. The reason being, like, if the output goes open circuit for any reason, it could damage the scope probes with high voltage, or the scope inputs with high voltage, which would be even worse. But yeah, that's pretty nice. Can we see the modulation on top of this if we go zoom in? Yes, kind of. Most of it's being filtered out, but that's presumably some residual modulation. That's about 300 kilohertz, which seems like it could be the amplifier's modulation. That does feel pretty pumpy, like it's probably moving some air. Cool. Let's disconnect the scope and then try a higher power test with some air hooked up to this. I mean, no danger with the input to the transformer. It's just the output of the transformer and the input to the scope are not going to be great friends if the output is resonating. Eric has a review of the, what is it, the 968? Which is that? The AOU? Is that a soldering station? Because we're talking about a fume extractor, and I feel like there's a lot less to go wrong in a fume extractor than a soldering station. This is really just a fan. Alright, scope. Alright, let's try this without the scope attached. So 20 volts, 2 watts, 38 hertz. Turning up the volume somewhat. So there's 60. Seems nice. Shall I get something for this to bubble into? I mean, just to be clear, this like aquarium air bubbler thing is not going to be useful in my actual setup because there's like way too much volume of air here, I think. I'm thinking I'm going to need something where I maybe attach the thin tubing like directly to this outlet. But this is just like a fun thing to try. Also, you can watch me spill water on the iPad. This came with a long length of hosing. Let's just try the whole thing to start with. Oh, look at that. There, I'm just turning up the volume to try to get it to go at a different frequency. Because it does seem to be most efficient around 60 hertz, like you'd expect. It's doing all right at lower frequencies, actually. That's like 30 hertz. $80, $90, $100. Nothing up here. $2 watts, 2.6 watts, 4 watts somehow. Thanks, logarithms. Oh, it is walking across the table. Okay, so now I'm at 80 hertz and still producing output. This is like 3.6 watts. Very little at 90 hertz. 110 hertz. Hertz seems to be the lowest this generator will go, which is a shame because I would actually want to go a little lower. 30. Amplitude peak is right around 48 hertz, 46 hertz. That's what it seems to be tuned for. I was just watching the peak of that motion. 46 hertz seemed to be the sweet spot. Ah, the joys of playing with the world's simplest variable frequency drive. Alright, so let's try the actual experiment with the smaller space to see if we can get the bubbles to vibrate interestingly. Let's turn this off for a sec. Oh, CO60CA is asking what the intention is for the widget. So it's part of the like RD video stuff for a music video, basically. It's like trying to build little apparatus that will move in interesting ways and then capture that on video and then send the footage to my friends. That's basically the plan. There are various ways we could try doing this. My inclination is to try to get some bubbles in a length of tubing and then just stick that onto the end of here with some clay just to see if that'll even work. Because that seems like about best case. Oh, here we go. I've got a little bit of this blue tack and this section of tubing which already has some bubbles in it. Ow. Pinch myself in this thing somehow. Okay, well, let's try this length of tubing because it's kind of free, but it'll be connected to this whole apparatus so we can see if any of those bubbles move. And there's a little bubble right near the end here, which is kind of great. Oh, Emily saw a peak around 52, maybe somewhere around there. Okay, so I don't know about sealing this. I'm just gonna wrap some blue tack around the edge of this this outlet here. I think we need the microscope for this next part too. Oh, hey cat. Oh, I need this to be a little closer. Oh, the box the pump came in. Physics Dude says that they think the air inlet is coaxial around the outlet nozzle when the case is closed. Yeah, that's certainly an option. It looks like they kind of tried to cover that, but I'm sure there's a gap. Yeah, that was something I was thinking about too, and then I looked and I saw this, but oh, you can make up your own mind. Focus. Okay, so it looks like there's that which seems like it's trying to close around the outlet, but none of this is going to close that tightly, so I'm sure there's going to be a gap. There is no O-ring in there. But yeah, if there was an O-ring, there would certainly be a gap there anyway. Can't quite see the top liquid interface at this angle. Well, let's see what that does. This bubble might just fly away the minute I turn on the audio. I'm going to start out with the music instead of the tone generator. Oh, the black background kind of helps, actually. Kinda. Then it washes out the foreground. This might be something I end up shooting with the optical microscope, because it is a lot nicer. Alright, power supply on. Start out with the volume pretty low. Song is playing. Slowly turning up the volume. And now we're just vibrating the tube. Oh. Oh, that pumped. Oh, geez. Yes. That's not what I was going for, but that's great. I guess there's a hole in that bubble, so it's not actually pushing, but it was pushing the stuff down here. Oh, this is great. Yeah. See, I mean, we could have just moved the liquid with a peristaltic pump, but this is so jerky and nice. And it's making a great mess on my table now. Yeah. Yeah, right? Pulsing red liquid, I mean, that's the reason I'm doing it for this song, right? That's definitely definitely thematically appropriate, I think. Yeah, I love it. The vibration kind of changes the shape of the bubbles in the tubing as it kind of pulses and then dies down. Oh, cool. Definitely going to show this to my friends next time we work on this. So the whole purpose behind this stream was like prototyping the electronics behind this to see if the simple thing would work, and if not, do the more complicated thing. But it looks like the simple thing works fine, which is just using an AC mains transformer backwards to step up the output of a Class D amplifier, and then run that into an aquarium pump, and it's pretty much perfect. Yeah. So much so that I kind of want multiple channels of this now. Like I actually already have several of these amplifiers and transformers. I would just need more aquarium pumps, and they're cheap. Ah, yes, Daniel WGK on Twitch says, ooh, a continuation of the microfluidics. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I didn't want to get too deep into the like fluidic design part on this stream, because that could certainly be its own entire can of worms. But on this stream, I was using an aquarium pump to see if I could modulate the motion of the liquid in the stream, or in the tubes, and I think that's working. This is also something where I'm going to have to try filtering the audio in different ways. Because the aquarium pump is clearly only sensitive to a small range of frequencies. So this is sort of like a color organ kind of thing, where like we're taking the bass and using that to move the liquid. There might be some other effects from the higher frequencies coming through also, but a lot of this is probably just responding to the bass. But we can control it pretty precisely because we're sending each one of those waveforms to the device. So I'm excited about trying some audio filters to generate this stuff. Yeah, it does look a little bit like blood. That's part of the reason. But if you like, we can try other colors. The directional valve is nice too, because there's a lot of wobble in the fluid, but it does cause it to eventually move its way in one direction, which does make it easier to introduce new fluid into the system. Like a little valve or a little place where I can inject liquid would be useful. The visible motions of the magnet are kind of cool too. Let me try capturing some of that too on the same song. Oh, come on. Everything's in the way. Oh, too close. Yeah. I don't know why. I find this satisfying. I'm also thinking it would be really cool to try just pumping the liquid directly with this, because I think that would transmit the vibrations much better. And I think you could just submerge the half of this that doesn't include the coil in a tank of something. It would be, you'd want to do it carefully, but. Right, yeah, like Ed's talking about squashing frequencies into a lower range. Yeah, totally. I'm not really set up to play with the audio pipeline on this stream, but that's something I will play with, and I might be able to stream some of that. Oh, Daniel's asking if they should use Gitter or the much more convenient Twitch chat. I mean, if you like the Twitch chat so much, you can stay with it. The reason for the Gitter is, I think that it's been useful as a way of having some community that lasts both between the streams and across different services. So, you know, if you like this and you want to hang out between streams or between services, then Gitter is kind of the canonical place to do that at the URL that's over in the box. Gotta remember physically where to point in the shop to point on the screen toward the URL. Yes, over there in that direction, there's a URL. And that's handy because we can even hang out between streams, but There's also Twitch, and I pay attention to it. It just isn't quite as much of a community at this point in time. Maybe it will be in the future. This is great. I'm so into this. What would it take to actually put liquid into the inlet of this? Let's look at that briefly. I'm going to try not to let this stream drag on too long, because I think this is about as much prep as I need to do on this project for the next little bit of work. And I'm going to try to actually actually get some edited video out. Just like, I've got piles of content that just need to be edited, and so like the more time I can spend doing that, the better, but it's like usually at odds with streaming these days. Oh. Yeah, mapping frequencies. Yeah, so there are ways you can do that. You can do that using, I mean, the reason you're maybe not going to find like a single filter that's just like remap frequencies is because there are various techniques that all give you different sounding artifacts. There's like a granular synthesis filter in Ableton that will let you remap frequencies by dividing the song up, or dividing the sound into tiny pieces that all get repeated or stretched out as they need to be. There's also vocoders, which are like filter banks, and then you can take the control signal for each filter and apply it to a filter of a different frequency. Or to an oscillator of a different frequency. So yeah, I mean, this has done a pretty good job of pushing all the fluid out of my system so far. So yeah, I'll need to come up with a better way to keep it recirculating. Is any of this warm? Let's take a look at the thermal pan. The iPad is warm. The coil on this is just a tiny bit warm, but barely. That other thing was just a reflection of the metalwork. But yeah, the coil is just a tiny bit warm. Transformer, also just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit warm, but barely. And then this puppy. Some hot spots. The capacitors and Zener diode, as you do, because this design is not very good. Or the inductors, too. Yeah, those capacitors are getting a lot warmer than it seems like they should. So, maybe not the best breakout board. Yeah, so the thing I was talking about with like basically taking an FFT and then like moving it and then like doing the inverse. Yeah, there are a lot of ways that you can do that which are very similar. But the overall approach of using a filter bank, I think most people just call those vocoders. Even if you choose different parameters than you would have realized with like one of the original physical vocoders. But I guess the characteristic that I usually think of when I think about vocoder is like you have a relatively small number of channels that you're quantizing to. So maybe that doesn't apply as much when you're doing something FFT based. I'm just trying to see which of these things come out easily now. It looks like this whole thing might just slide out. Yeah. Oh, how warm is Tuco? Tuco is cat temperature. This is not that accurate for measuring like small things like that. Yeah, Tuco's temperature depends on where you measure. Like, I can't get that good of a reading from his fur, and that's most of what the IR sensor is going to see. My instinct is to like pick at this piece of rubber, but if that's the valve, I don't want to damage it. Okay. That's the piece. So you got the wobbly rubber, the magnet attached only to the wobbly rubber. Flexes the diaphragm, changing the volume of this top piece, like sucking the air in a little bit and then squishing it out. I assume this is going to be the inlet with a little flap valve. I don't want to just like rip that out. I don't know. You know, it looks like this whole rubber thing is one piece that presses through a hole here and then comes out here. So I'm wondering if I can take that off. I don't think so. I don't think that comes apart like that. The inlet is definitely somewhere in here. It seems like you could almost modify the plastics just a little bit to turn that foot into an inlet. Yeah, Jarrett suggests an inlet that sucks up fluid and air. Sure, I mean, we need an inlet first. We don't have like a single thing that is an inlet. The inlet is somewhere in here. I don't know whether it's like under this plug or like along this surface somewhere. Is that a hole in the back? So this has to mount, like this could go in a tray of something, but that's like on this edge of this piece, so that would kind of work. Like some of these wires would be underwater or under air or whatever. Air is fine, they're already under air. The original suggestion I had was to just stick it in a container of some sort with the inlet down and then just like fill this and like cut slots in the side just to help it get in more easily. That might be fine. I mean, you might just be able to have like a beaker kind of thing with this attached to the side in the container, and then just you'd have to keep it at a pretty good fill level. But yeah, I'll think about something like that. Oh, cool. Sedacious says that they've listened to Super Ego Royal Jelly twice so far since this morning and wants to know more about what I'm working on with Rokinami. I mean, I don't want to like say it. Like it's totally like their art, and I'm just like trying to help out a little bit by making some footage that they might be able to use in their upcoming music videos. So they've been working on a music video for each song in this album, and I should just like actually show this on the screen. So yeah, these are some musician friends who make some awesome music, and I've just been trying to do what I can to help them with video. Just like a tiny bit, and just recently, like I just did like a little bit of photography and lighting help on their last video. It's so far all I've done, but I wanted to try to help with some more of the upcoming videos by doing some like weird B-roll kind of stuff like this. I guess some of the like video art stuff that I did made it into some of their earlier music videos, but just like a tiny bit. So this is their album. It's really good. You should listen to it. I've also been playing it some on the stream because I think they're fine with that, and the copyright bots don't know about this yet. You can also see the music videos so far on YouTube. The experience of opening YouTube without logging in is so weird. Yeah, so they've got a YouTube up here, and you can get the full album. There's also some music videos. So these are the first 2 songs we'll take in Daydream. Yeah. When did this one come out? This one came out shortly after the album came out. So the album, I think, came out in November last year. Or no, this came before the album. Oh, that's great. Yeah, so you should definitely check that out. That's really cool. And then there's Voltaic, which is the second song. Oh yeah, some of the, like, you might recognize some of the video bits. We had like a get-together where we were basically just like playing around with video on a projector, and I brought a bunch of source material and we set up VDMX, and so this is using some little bits and pieces from that. I don't remember which of them does the video editing. Both Rook and Nomi just do so many things. Like, I think they both do music, and they both do video, and they both do photography. So like, I don't actually know how the division of labor works in a lot of what they do, because I think it just goes back and forth a lot. Got all sorts of like gooey kind of V-sync weirdness going on, and markers and chroma key, and so yeah, the like tubes and wires. I was thinking that would go really well with their well, it's right here. Wires and blood, right? Also, all the lyrics are on these pages, which is useful. So this one doesn't have a music video yet. Do I need to reload this? Oh, do I not have a volume control? Sorry. And then this is the one that's coming out next, I think. Year ones. This is the one where I helped with some of the photography. But they're still editing this video. I need to find my volume control for this, sorry. I like when this has a volume control, and then the OS's volume control doesn't work because the output from this machine is digital. I think that's a safer level. Let's try that. Oh, that's too low, probably. All right, that's kind of balanced. So, yeah. And this is, I don't know, just like shooting some of the video for this was giving me chills because it was like, it was pretty intense, like, you know. It was nice. I think this is going to be really cool when it comes out. Why is somebody puking in my YouTube chat? Are you going to clean that up? Am I going to have to clean that up? Den is asking if I can peel back the rubber diaphragm on the pump. I mean, I was trying to see if it would come out easily, but I was worried about tearing it. Like, I don't actually want to break this taking it apart. and I was not confident that I could take it apart without breaking it. I mean, we can take another look at it, but I don't know. So I don't know if this is a separate piece that's like a little flapper thing, or whether it's the bottom surface of this after it's been pushed through a hole in the plastic. Either way, none of this seemed to want to come up really easily, and I just don't want to tear this if it is delicate, so. Oh, Emily's asking if I'm working on this with them or just unrelatedly. I mean, with them, I wasn't gonna do like a unofficial music video. I was just like trying to help out with the music videos they're working on. So it's like not my art. It's just something I'm helping with. I don't know. This is interesting. I just don't necessarily want to take it apart any further because I'm not confident that it'll go back together. Oh wow, they're frowning at me for cleaning up their puke. Oh, can't have it all. Sometimes you gotta be the janitor and the punching bag. Alright, well I think that's about it for this stream. I think this is some good starting points to experiment with, but I think it's also probably about time for me to get back to video editing today. So yeah. Hope some of that was interesting, and in case you missed the like 18 other announcements I did, this channel, or this live stream is moving to a different YouTube channel. So this will be the last stream on the main channel, the main Scanlime channel. If you go to scanlime.org, you will now see that there are 2 YouTube channels. If this loads, my browser is slow here. So you can go to the main YouTube channel or live streaming, which will take you to either Twitch or YouTube, depending on what you click on here. So this YouTube live channel is the brand new thing. It doesn't have anything yet, but the next stream will be right here, and you can subscribe to get notified when that happens. And until then, I'm just gonna keep working on having content to go out here. You might notice that the bot is doing a lot more stuff than it did when I made this last video, so it's definitely overdue for another summary kind of wrap up, so I'm working on that, and I've also got some other unrelated stuff to get out. So yeah, I will see you on the internet, and a special thanks for everyone who supports the channel by sending your friends here, by sending stuff to me to take apart, or by helping me pay the rent and buy cat food with some dollars every month on Patreon. That's what helps me spend so much time doing this instead of hunting for jobs out there and doing all the usual stuff that I would have been doing if I wasn't doing this full time. So yeah, grateful as always, and I'll try to keep the interesting cat and electronics content coming. Oh, that's a good question from Emily, whether I can migrate big streams. You mean like the archive videos? I could re-upload them, but I don't think I can just move the videos. I don't think YouTube allows you to move videos between channels. I think at one point in the past they did, but they don't anymore. So yeah, I mean, if you know of a way to move things between channels, let me know, but as far as I know, that's not actually possible. And so the old streams will appear on the old channel still. I'm not going to delete them because they're still useful, but the new stuff will just be on the new channel. I could maybe try to do a massive upload dump of the old streams to the new channel, but I'm not sure if that would be useful. I think that would just seem kind of spammy all around, so I think I'll avoid doing that. Bronze Draven, who is the one who puked so helpfully, is asking if this is a trans community. I think you're lost. I think if you're looking for the trans community, I think you might just like Google or something. I don't know. I don't even know what you mean by that, so I'm just gonna have to laugh it off. Anyway. Oh yeah, Piot apparently had to re-upload videos when migrating channels. Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, I mean, if you think it would be useful to find all the videos in one place, I could try re-uploading them, but there are like over 200 of them now, and so I could do it, but it would just seem like kind of a giant dump at this point, so I don't know. Let me know what you think. I'm going to assume it's not so useful at this point. All right. Well, I think that's it for today's stream. Thanks so much for everybody who participated, and special thanks to everyone who keeps coming back and supporting the channel with, hardware, word of mouth, Patreon dollars, virtual pets, cat toys. It's all great. So I'll see you all next time. Happy hacking, folks.